Hi, my name is Sarah Wells, and I'm doing my project over breaking barriers and the access constraints in leisure and their social impact. So, my problem statement is access to leisure isn't equally accessible due to many different factors. Some of those barriers include income, geography, disability, and cultural exclusion. Leisure is very, very vital for not only physical health but mental health because it brings a sense of belonging in the community, and everyone deserves to have access to leisure. So the proof is in the charts. 1 in 3 Americans lack access to green space, so that is anywhere outside a park, a yard. Less than 50% of public recreation facilities meet the ADA accessibility standards, and 52 participants in a study said that their parks were inclusive to people of all races, ethnicities, and income. So we are seeing an uprise in the inclusivity rates, but still it should just be 100%. And then cultural and financial barriers limit participation. So here I have some charts. So up here we've got physical activity by income. And so you can see that as it goes up to, I believe it's 100,000 a year. We've got 91% say that they are physically active, and then here at under 25,000 a year, it says it is around 57%. And then all together, it's about 75%. So again, we're kind of seeing an increase in it, but it's still, you can see the very blatant differences. And down here we have how people spend their leisure time. So the red is a wealthier income, and the blue is a lower income. So you can just see, so like for example, attending sports. I think we all know how expensive like football games, like NFL games, major league games, all of that can be. Just super, super expensive. So you can see that that bar is much higher than that one. Same with playing sports. I grew up playing sports, and I know that it was not cheap, and it's not accessible for everyone, and it's not doable for everyone. So that, I'm not surprised, honestly, that that is such a large gap. And then going camping, I also would not be surprised that that is so different. Attending classical music and opera, both of those are still pretty low, but for a lower income, that's only 5%, and for the higher income, it is 17%. Now, what I do think is interesting is the only one that the lower income leads in is watch 5+ hours of TV per day, or less than 5 hours. No, sorry, watch more than 5 hours of TV per day. So I think that that just kind of goes to show how different it can be, because you've got 63% of higher income playing sports, and 8% spend that much time at home watching TV. So I think that that just speaks volumes to the income inequality. I thought this was very interesting. 10.2 million children participate in an after-school program, but another 19.4 million children would participate in a program if it were available. And I got this data from this really cool website, and it actually shows you state by state what percent of children are in an after-school program. So in Tennessee, we have 18%, which matches right with the national average, which is also 18%. Nevada over here has 24%, along with California and 25%, so those are above average. And then I believe it is DC has the highest. Yeah, DC leads with a 35% of children in after-school programs, and I think that that makes a lot of sense if you think about who lives in DC, what kind of jobs they have, what kind of schedules they operate on. This website's honestly really great because you can look down here at the demographics. So we've got 51% of boys and 49% of girls, so that's almost right down the middle. but 29% are Hispanic and 24% are African American. And then you can also look at it by like special topics. So I thought summer care was a really interesting one. So you can look here and see 61%, that leads in, again, DC. So the national average is 33% for this, but DC is leading in 61%. Again, if you just think about what is happening where that city is and in that town. And then California also has 46%. So again, when you think about the people who live in California, whereas if you go down to, say, Oklahoma, you've got 22%, so that's a little bit lower than the national average. Georgia is around 25%. Tennessee actually has 37%, so we are above the national average. So yeah, I just thought that was a really cool website to kind of look around on and kind of get some new information on new statistics. So how can we do better? We can offer free transportation services in bigger cities. I know a lot of big cities do, but there could be more. Shuttles, bus vouchers, anything to like rec centers and parks. I think that a bus voucher would be great for that if you are showing that like you're using it for productive leisure. Not that all leisure has to be productive, but more so than just. Anyways. We could also do leisure access passes. This grants free or reduced cost entries to community centers, pools, and museums. So that could be great for, like we saw in that chart earlier, the lower income families to get to go to kind of art museums and galleries. We could also do inclusive design and funding, which is investing in ramps, sensory friendly spaces, and adaptive equipment, such as like on playgrounds. And cultural inclusion and education, we could offer events and classes in multiple languages reflecting diverse interests. Here are some characteristics of an inclusive playground. So we've got fencing, social play spaces, sensory components, calm areas, unitary surfacing, forward-thinking play equipment. So this doesn't even just have to deal with kids with physical disabilities. This can be kids with autism who maybe get overstimulated easy. These sensory spaces could be a great place for them. Why these things work? They reduce inequity by directly addressing multiple barriers. So that's our age, gender, income, race, ethnicity. It increases physical activity and reduces stress, which improves social cohesion. It strengthens community pride and a sense of belonging, and it encourages partnerships between city governments, nonprofits, and local businesses. Leisure should be a right, not just a privilege, and when we remove the barriers to access, we create a healthier, more connected environment and community. Minorities are able to feel included and celebrated, and our society only grows because of it. And I wanted to close it out with this quote that I saw, and it says, it's by Jesse Jackson, and it says, "When everyone is included, everyone wins." And I think that's just very true.